budget. Thank you all for submitting your information and continuing to do your best to adhere to practices that are fiscally responsible. In your packet, you have a summary, a draft, these are all draft, a summary of the revenue sources. You have a summary of how costs have changed, where we define it as being controllable, which means based on the decisions that we personally make here locally, we can influence that number either stay the same, go up or go down. And then we have the other things that are a function of bills that we receive from the state, which we consider the uncontrollable costs that we have to deal with. In your packet, you each have a summary of the appropriations across all the departments, so you have that. You have a summary of the controllable and uncontrollable costs for the entire township, not just your department. And you have an analysis of the levy cap, which, as you recall, the levy cap at a very simple level says it's 2%. On the actual cap calculation, there are allowable adjustments for pension obligations, health insurance, and factors such as that, as well as any adjustments, any changes in the ratables that we have. So I share that we have this as a backdrop. What that means is to where we're at today. So if you look at let's look at the simple summary sheet. This one. And if Ro worked on this and we discussed it, but Ro cleaned it up to make it a much simpler sheet to look at this year that we all can follow. And it basically shows if you start on the left side and you go over, it's each of the departments: the mayor's office, public affairs, revenue finance, public safety, public works, parks, and then the areas where we have the deferred charges or any other grant offset that we have to address. So what you would find is that controllable costs for the whole township across all of the departments is up $271,000. That breaks out to basically being roughly a $4,000 increase in the mayor's office, $270,000 increase in public safety, a $45,000 increase in public works, a $10,000 increase in parks, with a reduction in controllable costs in revenue and finance and public affairs to come to that net. So just if you see the logic of the flow of that. From the uncontrollable side, you'll see, good morning, Ray, that there is an increase in non-controllable costs in the mayor's office of $31,000, which is primarily the library appropriation. In revenue and finance, we have a $453,000 uncontrollable increase, and that relates to an increase in pension costs of $300,000, an increase in sewer costs of $107,000, and an increase in payroll-related tax costs. Those are, again, those are central costs. They apply to the whole town, but they're housed in one department, so that they show up in that area. Likewise, there's a $547,000 increase in the Parks Department for non-controllable costs, and that primarily relates to health insurance. In all of these cases, the bills for pension, the bills for sewer, and the bills for healthcare came in, and they are higher this year than they were in the previous 2 years. So periodically we get this bump, and it's coming in this year. So the increase in the non-controllable cost for the township is $952,000. And then we have in the debt and deferred charges, the net of that, it's down $79,000 year over year, which reduces the 952. Reduces it from a larger number to 952. And then in the grants and other offsets, when we did our bonds, we had in January we were able to get a 0.73 net interest rate. The gross interest rate when it was sold was 2.5%. So that was creates a bond premium. So we owe 2.5% on those bonds, but we received in revenue an offset of $137,000. So what this represents is the offset, because we will hold on to that, and at the end of the year when we pay the bonds, we have to pay the entire amount. We don't get to keep that. So it's an in and out to flow through. But because this is the appropriation side, and revenues are on one side and appropriations on the other, it shows up. But if this was a combined analysis, I would net it out and you wouldn't see it. But it's just the way the two swim lanes line up, and they never cross. They just never cross.
I'm so proud.
So all of that, yes. So all of that means is that the total increase that we're facing right now as a municipality is $1.4 million, moving from 15 to 16. What that means is that without any further adjustments, the levy increase right now, which is 3.7%. That would translate into a house, the average house, that house that's out there, that one house that's out there at $315,000 of assessed value, would see a municipal tax increase of $125. So that doesn't include the school, and it doesn't include the county, which is simply that one component. I asked Ray to do the levy cap calculation because you have to run through the calculation and the formulas to get to the exceptions. In order for us to meet the cap requirement, including the exceptions that are allowed, we would have to take this budget and reduce it another $118,000 in order to meet the cap. So we're over the cap on the technical calculation, $118,000. To achieve a 2% increase, which is what the simplified cap levy cap analysis would be without any exceptions, we would need to reduce this budget by $650,000 to account for, try to absorb the increases in health costs and pension costs, as well as the increase in the non-controllable areas.
I just got a quick question. On these uncontrollable costs, the $453,000 and the $547,000, is that outside our cap, or are we putting that in?
Well, it's in the levy. It's inside. It's actually part of our spending for the year. So it's in the total budget, and it goes into the total levy.
So are we up 3.7% with those
Yes.
in there?
Yes, we are.
Right.
Yes, we are.